All right, are we ready? We ready? I don't even know how to start this story. Okay. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Truth Be Told. This is story time. So, I don't even know how to start this story. There's so many different spectrums that go to it. Overall, this is one of the more vulgar stories that I'm probably going to tell, but there is a bigger picture to the whole thing, and there is like a lesson learned, I guess you can say, in the whole thing. So back to the dating apps. This was about 4 years ago. I met this guy on Bumble. It could have been 5. It was right when I moved to Dallas. So 4 or 5 years ago, I met this guy on Bumble. Very good looking. Exactly my type. Is brunette, colored eyes, tall. We hit it off. Funny guy. And he was the only thing that kind of didn't concern me, but always kind of raises a red flag for me personally, is that he really advertised himself as a conservative Christian, which nothing wrong with that whatsoever. However, based on my previous experiences in dating, and I tend to kind of butt heads with those type of personalities. So he invited me to dinner and drinks. I said sure. The day before we're supposed to meet, he asks me to Facetime. And I was like, yeah, that's great. We could do that. Guarantees that you're not going and meeting as a catfish, right? So I Facetime him, and he's getting home from work, and he's like, hey, I'm in the hallway of my apartment. Can I call you right back? I said, sure. He calls me back, and I'm cooking. So he calls me back, and I answer. And when I answer the phone, he is masturbating, and his face is not in the phone. It's just his hand. It's just his penis. He's masturbating. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little intrigued, because I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, I wanted to know how this story ended up. So instead of immediately freaking out and hanging up, I just put my little phone, put it right there on the little counter. I finished cooking. Every now and again, I would look over to see if anything had changed, and it hadn't. Again, I wanted to see how the story finished. The story did finish because he finished, and then he hangs up. I text him, and I said, are we gonna talk about this? Are we just I'm just mind blown, because that's never happened to me before. I've had guys send me penis pics, unwarranted or unsolicited dick pics or whatever, but I've never had a guy Facetime, while he's whacking his walrus. It's never happened to me. So I was pretty intrigued. I was like, what the fuck is happening? My message never goes through to him because he blocks me. It went through as a green text message. He blocked me. And we had already added each other on social media at that point. So I go look, and he had deleted his social media, both Facebook and Instagram. And he didn't block me from it. He deleted it because I had my other friends look him up, and they couldn't find him. He was nowhere to be found. So immediately I'm just like, this is weird. There's something deeper to this. This wasn't just this guy clearly has a sexual fetish. I was like, but he feels guilty to some extent for him to delete his social media. Or maybe he's really embarrassed. But even if he was embarrassed, then why even do it to begin with? There was just a lot of things that were going through my head. So I chalked it up as a funny story, a horrible, not even first date story. So then I tell all my friends what happened, right? And we're all just drinking wine. This is 2-3 weeks later. And guess who FaceTimes me again? Everybody, it was 5 of us in the living room. Well, they all freak out. They're like, answer it. I was like, okay, fine. I answer it. And there he goes again, freaking choking the chicken. The same thing like before. The girls start freaking out. Everybody starts screaming. They're just throwing, just saying shit here, left and that, and just fucking with him and egging him on and whatnot. He is very well endowed. This guy had a huge dick. It was huge. Clearly this was definitely his thing. He quite literally got off to doing, FaceTiming and jerking off. That was his thing. So he finally finishes. I'm cracking up. We're just all laughing. He finally finishes, and at the very end, the girls are like, go! And then he hangs up. And this time I don't even try to text him. I'm just like, bro, you got some issues, but it's fine. But I went ahead and I did check social media, and he had actually reactivated it. He had done that. I had checked like about a week before, just for shits and giggles. I had looked to see, and he had reactivated it. And again, if you went to social media, he was very much about like God and church and his niece and, you know, wanting true love and wanting to find a wife and blah, 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 blah. It just looked like a real fucking good American little good boy is what he looked like. So after that, though, he did end up blocking me from social media after that instance. And so I was talking about it with my friends, and we were just like, he's got some demons. Like, he's definitely like harboring some shit. There's something behind that. Like, for him to do that and like feel guilty, like this, it's clearly like his pornography type thing. So fast forward 3 years. So this was last summer. I'm at a bar, and guess who walks in? I immediately see him, and he's just as good looking as his photos are. It just blows my mind that this guy that he has this problem, because he could easily find a girl to be with. He could easily find a girl to hook up with. Like, I think he's definitely looking for something a little different than that, or at least a part of him is. He sees me. I don't want to make eye contact with him. I turn away. I'm like, oh, fuck. My friend, he spends the rest of the night trying to get my attention. I know he's trying to get my attention because he keeps standing near me. I keep catching him staring. My friend is like, he keeps looking, he's walking over, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm sitting there, and he doesn't approach me, though. He stands like right behind me. He's standing directly behind me. And I'm like, dude, I am not going to talk to this guy. Like, I don't know what he's expecting right now. This is fucking weird. And finally, I tell her, I was like, let's go. And so as I'm leaving, he like makes a little like loop around, so he ends up in front of me, and then he accidentally bumps into me. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he like grabs my shoulders. And I look at him, and I was like, no, you're good. And I just keep walking because I refuse. I was like, no, man, I am not going to be your sexual fetish. And I don't know if he recognized me, if he remembered who I was, or just maybe thought he recognized me but didn't put two and two together. I don't know, but I recognize him. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing this. So again, just a funny story, fast forward to last week, and I'm working out with my girls in the morning with a couple of girls. There's 4 of us, and we're just telling like horror stories of dating on apps and whatnot. And my friend Jordan is like, dude, you've got to tell the story about that guy. And what do we call him? I guess let's call him Brett, about Brett. So I tell the story, and I tell his real name when I'm telling them. And one of the girls is like, wait, what? What's his last name? And I say his last name. And she was like, I went on a few dates with that guy years ago. He took me to church. We talked about like marriage and religion. And it was like, I was like, show me a picture. I'll tell you if it's him. So she shows me a picture. Sure enough, it's him. She's like mind blown. We're all mind blown because he out of nowhere just ghosted her, and she never got answers as to why. She kind of thought at the time like what was wrong with her, and it was just crazy the way the universe like works and how this all came full circle. And after telling that story, like we were talking about it, like obviously like he is dealing with his own demons. And I didn't want to, I kind of debated telling this story because I never want to laugh at or ridicule anybody's personal struggles or battles, but he also what he did was kind of not cool on my end. Like, yeah, I laughed it up, and I'm turning it into a podcast story and making fun of it. But I mean, ultimately, like, what if I was a woman who was not okay with that? That's got to be like some kind of, I don't know, what is that? Sexual harassment, assault with a deadly weapon? I'm not sure. It's got to be something. One of those. So in my eyes, I'm like, all right, you got to know. Like, I understand you're fat, you're struggling, man. You know, you wanna spank your monkey and whatnot in front of girls, but if you're doing it on FaceTime, something tells me you probably do it like outside. Like you're one of those guys that drive up on a girl or doing it just to get off of it and then drive off. Like that's what I'm thinking is going on. And he probably struggles with it mentally, because for him to just delete his social media right away, it's like, all right, you're battling some internal demons, man. And especially if you're religious, you're probably going to ask forgiveness every Sunday for what you did. But anyway, so I feel like I have the right to tell the story now since I had to experience and endure that. But it kind of gave her a little bit of closure. Not that she really needed it, because they only went on a few dates, like I said, but still, like for a while there, she was blaming herself. She was wondering what was wrong with her, and little did she know what was really going on behind the scenes and what was, he's really definitely like struggling on his own. And so it was just one of those wild stories that I don't know why it happened to me or why it happened to us, but it did. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share with you guys, next time if you ever get a guy sending you an unsolicited dick pic, just think about what he's really got going on mentally. He's got some mommy issues. We don't know. Let's feel for him. Let's feel sorry for him. All right. Anyways, y'all, that was a quick episode. Thanks for tuning in. See y'all next week.